Hello, everyone. I'm Karina Belizzi, host of Care More, Be Better, a podcast for social impact and sustainability. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you all again to Rebekah Bastian. She is the CEO of OwnTrail, a company that she founded to really help women network more effectively and support one another's journey. You can actually hear her entire show if you go to episode number 5. And so, without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and invite Rebekah on. Rebekah, welcome to the
Hi,
show. So
thank
good.
you. Great to
Well,
be back.
yeah, thank you for joining me again. Now, the reason I called you on today was I was specifically interested in a couple of new features that you brought into OwnTrail that I think help to improve its utility. So, why don't you just talk a little bit about what OwnTrail is and how women in particular can support one another using this incredible platform?
Yes, thank you. Well, so OwnTrail is a platform for women to visualize and navigate our life paths. So for anyone listening, watching, you can just check out owntrail.com and see what I mean by that. It's women share their really authentic journeys across our personal and professional lives in a way that's really looking at what has made us who we are today, what has brought us here, and where are we going. So much more than kind of the picture perfect end results that you might see on like LinkedIn or social media. This is like the real experiences. And when women share authentically, it's this incredibly powerful act of owning our stories and really inspiring each other with that. So when we talked last time in episode 5, the core of that product really was in sharing our story and connecting with each other around that. And we've had from the beginning this vision of being so much more than just the kind of passive but powerful act of sharing, but really how do we lift each other up in our journeys? How do we support each other through those and really moving from that inspiration into action? And that's the new feature that we recently launched, which is called Help Beacon, that I know you reached out to me about. So excited to share more about that here.
All right. So I think probably the best way to do this would be to go ahead and share my screen. So everybody who's watching live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and even on YouTube can get a look at it and really kind of discover it for themselves. So let me just go ahead and do that now. I will share my screen. And here we go. We're going to take a peek at Rebekah's trail and let's talk about it. Here we go.
Yes.
Let me change the vision a little bit here to be more in line. There we go. That's better.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you've pulled up my trail on OwnTrail, and this is really what I think of as the most authentic version of me and my journey in digital form. So this shares, you can see all the kind of solid color filled in circles are part of my past experiences, what I've already navigated on my journey. The ones that are kind of shaded light are present experiences. So those are the ones I'm navigating right now. And then the ones that are clear background that you're hovering over right there, those are my aspirational milestones. And so for my present milestones and my aspirational milestones, now I'm able to ask for help on those. So I can ask for help from the OwnTrail community on things that I'm currently navigating and things that I'm working towards. And it's been really incredible to see women asking for help and women giving help, because I think that, you know, so often, particularly as women, we're definitely helpers. We do a lot for others, but we don't always feel comfortable asking for that help, or maybe have the right people to ask or know what to be asking. And so tying it directly to the trail in terms of really what we are navigating in our lives, and then having the supportive community to ask for help with it, has revealed that so many women are open to asking and open to helping. And it's been really beautiful to see the help and the support that is blossoming from that.
Well, I personally think that's part of the reason that Clubhouse has enjoyed a splash into the social audio space, because people ask each other questions in real time.
Mm-hmm.
But I really appreciate that this is offering a new avenue. I did receive a beacon or two and responded to a few women that were also asking a lot of questions about, hey, I'm just having a real challenge navigating this particular thing in my life and I could use some help.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this. You have one beacon right here on your profile.
Yeah.
So if I click on that, do I go there? Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, and this one, the one that I asked for help with is an interesting one, because it's a little bit more abstract. Some of the things that women are asking for help on are very specific. Like, I'm looking to get into this new space in my career, or I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this particular, relationship issue or things like that. But this one's a little more abstract, which is that I've definitely in my own journey, I've been on this kind of evolution of feeling like I want to change broken systems from within to, you know what, I don't even want to be working within those systems. I want to build new and better ones. And so I've really been looking for, who are the people that have taken that path and been successful in it? And by successful, I mean making an impact and being able to, grow their businesses or do the work that they want to be doing while really staying aligned with their values and creating new systems, not necessarily just, I think that there's this kind of rhetoric where, we have these big aspirations for changing the things that are broken, but by the time you get so far deep into the system, it can be hard to really make that difference. Or that might be my currently slightly cynical view there. But there are so many incredible trailblazers who have really found ways to do that. So I'm just looking for more of them to follow and connect with and be inspired by. And that was the help beacon that I put out here. And then
what I noticed.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What I noticed is I received an email in my inbox when a help beacon went out for somebody I was following. So I thought that was really helpful. I don't get a ton of spam mail because I'm very careful about curating what I'm subscribing to. And so it came right out to me and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is interesting. So here you're telling people you need help with, and then it's like it starts the sentence for you. Is that correct? And then you just complete the thought.
So when you create a help beacon on a milestone on your trail, it's kind of Mad Lib style, where it's asking like, what do you need help with? Who are the people that might be able to give it to you? And what is the end goal that you're working towards there? So it comes out in this format. And you can click on the help out there and see that 10 people have responded to that help beacon so far, which is really nice. So you can expand that there. But yeah, like you mentioned, so if you're connected with somebody on OwnTrail, and connected is a double opt-in connection. So you send a connection request to somebody whose trail might inspire you, and then they accept it. And once you're connected with someone, if they ask for help, then you'll be notified of that so that you can help them out. But we also send out a weekly digest of the latest help beacons so that you can kind of currently sitting on Friday mornings. Actually, those of you that are on it probably got several from us last Friday. That was a mistake, sorry. But normally it'd be one. And that lets you kind of just say, okay, I'm going to just take a minute to see who's asking for help on OwnTrail this week and see where I can help out. And so we'll keep getting smarter with kind of the data science to help connect people with relevant experiences to help out. But it's really nice to see, so far, every ask that's been asked in our community, there are trailblazers there to help with it. We have such an amazing breadth of experiences and backgrounds and identities, and it's all there and it's all ready to help.
That's great. Well, I have a couple of questions that relate to some of our earlier connection when you were in a slightly earlier phase. I know things move fast in the world of social media. It's 6 months or so later at this point. So, and I do want to say the sentence completion reminds me of when Facebook first launched. Do you remember how it used to say,
what's on your mind or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about,
Karina is, and then you were asked to complete the
Yeah.
sentence. And so it was talking about yourself in that kind of third person or whatever.
Well, so this is first person.
No. But I'm remembering back. And so I'll see reminder early posts from when Facebook first launched, and it will say, remember this post? I'm like, why is it an incomplete sentence? Yeah. Oh, right. They started it for you.
Totally. That's funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's where the similarities with Facebook end. Also, we see ourselves very much as the antidote to that kind of dynamic. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So at the time that we last connected, I mean, your platform is really focused on serving women. So I wonder if there's been any development in that arena, if you're going deeper, if you're considering a more gender neutral perspective, or what's happening on that front.
Yeah, so OwnTrail is a space centered on women. And so anyone who feels comfortable and safe in that space is welcome. There's a lot of power in having centered spaces for given identities. And the OwnTrail space is also incredibly intersectional by, intentionally so. So there's, so many different identities that women hold and that are represented here. And I think that, if and when we do branch out to more genders, I think it's more about centering different identities. So I could see us, expanding into a space where there's, centered by different ethnicities or sexual orientations or abilities, or, so I think that like having that kind of like centered affinity-based space is really powerful in terms of the safety and trust and just ability to really feel seen in your identities that facilitates. So I think that like as we expand, it's probably going to be in that way.
Yeah, great. Well, we are in the age of Aquarius, so it makes sense that this remains female-centered for now, or at least with that identity, comfort with that identity. So I think now that we have a screen share at our fingertips, it would be cool for people to see a little bit more about how you even create a trail or if you were to add to it.
Yeah.
So, I noticed a couple of changes that came over the course of the last, 6 months, like where it was, if it's in progress, it's lit up, and if it's completed, it's now solid. But as far as editing it, moving things around, creating something new, like what is the best way to do that at this point in time?
Yeah. Well, so if you're comfortable doing this, if you click on the
I could
My
go to my
Trail,
own.
if you click on My Trail in the top left corner there, or that way too. Yeah, top right also. So this is now you're viewing your own trail. So you can see there's edit icons on your trail and your profile. So if you click that edit pencil in the top right corner of your trail, now you see, so this is your trail laid out in order of newest to oldest, and you can drag and drop your milestones. So if you think of things that you want to add, you can always drag them to the right chronological spot on your trail, and it shows the aspirational ones, then present, and then past. And it looks like all of your milestones are past ones. So you might want to add oh, you have a present one there too. You might want to add an aspiration. Do you have an aspiration you would like to add in real time with the community here? What are you working towards right now?
I want to create a community of women podcasters that are working in the social good space. So
I love it. So pick aspirational at the top there, because that's something that you're working towards. And so that's where you would choose past, present, aspirational.
And then I guess would they say that's a career? I'm not sure.
Yeah, or maybe activities.
Or maybe relationship. Well, not that kind of relationship, but.
Well, no, there's mentorship and friendship relationships under there too. So that could be it. So I guess if it's a volunteer, it could maybe be a volunteer thing under activities. It could maybe be friendship or mentorship under relationships. It could maybe be under life changes, like maybe, I don't know if it's an identity change or, I don't know. There's a few, I feel like maybe hobby, volunteer, or mentorship, friendship might be ones that, I don't know, what resonates with you there? We have these predefined categories because it helps us to kind of see how the different trails intersect with each other as a way of kind of normalizing some of the milestones. So, and also to help open up ideas about what you might want to add.
I think I feel most comfortable with it under the mentor space.
Okay.
Because I think it's cross mentorship. So let's just say develop community of female do-gooder podcasters. I guess that's very specific, right?
I love it. Yeah.
And so I'm looking to do that through tools like I mentioned Clubhouse a bit ago. I found that to be a good space for doing that.
Yeah.
But I also was curious if you thought this platform could offer some of that as well. Like, is that through beacons, or how might I do that?
Let's make a beacon to see who's interested in joining the community with you. And then, we could also set you up with, like, we have private groups on OwnTrail. So that could be a way of bringing them together. So let's talk more about if that might be something you want to explore, where you could have a group where you have like kind of a private group conversation on OwnTrail with women in that community.
Right. Cool.
So here's your help beacon. So do you need help with finding women to join the community, or
finding women podcasters on OwnTrail to unite for social good?
Awesome.
And environmental good. I'll just put that.
Yeah. I love it. And you might, like, you don't have to fill out the other fields. So you kind of answered the from and the in order to in that first sentence, which is fine also. So don't feel like you need to fill out those, but that's right. And then if you wanted to like add a link to your podcast here, you could, if that was like, if you want people to see what you're up to there.
Yeah. I feel like it's serendipitous because today, a male podcaster reached out to me to ask me to join their network.
Mm,
And one of the things I've just been trying to do is employ, feature, and even collaborate with other women who are, working in this field because it seems so male dominated. Not to say anything against men. I mean, but, let's help raise one another up and not
yeah,
be just another. Sometimes it feels like a collection of trophies in a male-led entourage, if it makes sense.
yeah.
And perhaps that's not the nicest way of saying it, but that's sometimes how it can feel.
Well, but I think
And
I think you're literally making the case as you say that for centered spaces for women, right? Which is that it's not
mhm,
like it's, you know, and men can be in those centered spaces too as allies and as, wanting to support women in, or depending on how you set that up to be. But
great. So I have
um
a beacon now. There I
you have a
am.
beacon, yeah. And
And I created this aspiration. So that's
I
cool.
love it. And also, like, I think that you're very aspiration in and of itself. And like, I think speaks to, I think when we talk about communities of women, like women can be so community oriented and supportive of each other and this kind of abundance mindset of working together on things. And I love that, um, the way that we have OwnTrail set up really allows for so many kind of micro communities within this community and all of us connected by our trails and by the different ways that our journeys intersect and our shared experiences and different perspectives. So let's
Well,
chat more about how
great.
we can facilitate your podcast community here. But I love that.
Yeah. So I was hoping you could just chat for a moment about what your aspirations presently are, like what's on the horizon for Own Trail. If there's something you're particularly proud of outside of beacons, it would be lovely to have an update.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the community itself is the core of OwnTrail and everything that I'm excited about. And the trails are a way of the community sharing our stories and connecting with each other authentically. And the help beacons are a way of us really taking action to support each other's journeys. And it's really the women in the community that are everything. And so as we grow that, it's really about, we're excited to have more reach. Right now we have women from, I think, almost 50 different countries right now. And such an amazing, intimate experience on the platform. So we really want to reach even more women while maintaining that level of trust and safety and the vulnerability that comes from really being ourselves, taking up space and asking for what we want. And being vulnerable doesn't necessarily isn't necessarily a soft or a passive thing. Like we can be boldly vulnerable and boldly supporting each other through that. And so everything we're doing, both in terms of how we reach more women, which is all organic still, to how we're creating experiences on the platform for women to be connecting with and supporting each other, is all really with that big vision in mind. And really, we get so excited when we think about the ripple effects that come from women showing up, taking up space authentically, and supporting each other to achieve our aspirations. That has ripple effects throughout society and throughout systems, and it can really change things. So that's what keeps us going. Our values and our vision are really the North Star, and then from there, it's about creating amazing ways for that to happen on OwnTrail.com.
Well, I'm encouraged by that. I do know that you also presently secured another round of funding
Mm-hmm.
and you're hiring from what I saw on
Yeah,
LinkedIn. So,
yeah.
since this is broadcasting there, why not talk about that? What are you hiring for? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, we're currently hiring for a front end engineer. And that can be someone a little bit earlier in their career. We have two incredible, very senior women engineers right now who are excited to bring one more engineer to make it a third on our team, and they'll be incredible for mentorship and really growing and learning together. So we're looking for that. And then we have a part-time communications manager role open as well. And that also has the potential to move into full-time as we grow. And we just got to convert our absolutely phenomenal UX designer to full-time. She's been part-time with us the past year. So that was really cool too. And yeah, I think funding is a means to an end. So, we celebrate the wins, and it's not about the money. It's about what we can do with the money and how we're able to grow our team and take care of our team and work with our community to keep working towards our vision here. So, and like we could do a whole nother talk on fundraising, but Long story
Well, maybe
short,
we should do that next. I
yeah,
mean, on that topic, I mean, I do this podcast purely out of my own pocket, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
have had a few really thoughtful donations towards it, which is
Oh, that's nice.
fantastic to kind of keep you motivated and going. But
Yeah,
I haven't wanted to have advertisers on the platform. I don't feel like I want to muck it up with a bunch of commercials and things like
yeah.
that. So I've been looking at how I grow it and just even created some swag, which I don't think my audience has really seen here, but I'll show it for a second because I also thought it was interesting that like some of the imagery I'm choosing reminds me of your logo on OwnTrail. Like we had that
Yeah,
similarity early on because the colors on your book
that's
for Blaze Your Own Trail like complemented it so well that I really had fun with the artwork for that. But I did like a water bottle and the t-shirt I'm wearing
I
and
love
just kind of
it.
like figuring out, how do I both appreciate the audience or the guests that I bring on by perhaps giving them a little swag or inviting them to buy some and maybe a few dollars of each would go towards the show.
Totally. Look, I'm
Um,
going to show my book here because I'm like, yes, these are so
yeah,
like
see,
they
like,
match. They go so great together. I love it.
so,
Super cute.
and next week I'm going to She Podcast Live, which is a trade show all about podcasting and women. There will be some guys there too, but most of the podcasters are female, and that is from Friday through Sunday. So I arrive Thursday afternoon. I get to go to some VIP. Podcasting events, which are going to, I think, just be incredible because I'll have the opportunity to collaborate with a bunch of people in person. And so it's going to be the first networking event I've done in person that isn't school related in the past year and a half with COVID. So
That's so awesome.
I'm
Where is
really
it?
looking. It's going to be it's in Arizona. So at
Okay.
a resort kind of equidistant from both Phoenix and Scottsdale airports. So I'm just flying into
Perfect.
Phoenix and
Oh, sun in the desert sounds so good right now.
yeah, well, with a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old at home, it's going to be nice.
You're going to sleep in a hotel room by yourself.
Right. And I'm
I
even
feel
bringing
that.
some of my podcasting equipment, like my PodTrack P4 and my microphone, and a few of the people that I know in podcasting. We're planning on doing like catch a minute little podcasts there. We might stream live. I am, kind of all up in the air, but just to
Really
kind
cool.
of inform and share the good work that we're doing.
That's so
So
awesome. Oh,
yeah,
enjoy yourself. That sounds amazing.
all part of this community build, right? So
Yeah. Yes. Go
um,
recruit some people to join your podcast group on OwnTrail.
yeah, who knows? Perhaps we'll discover or build or create our own network of female podcasters
Yeah.
that, yeah, I'm thinking about it. It's something that's just stewing, right?
Yeah, very cool. Well, I know there's some other really interesting podcasters in the OwnTrail community as well. So I'm going to tag them into your help beacon there too.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how many people are now on the platform?
We have about 3,000 accounts created and about 1,200 trails that have been published.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's obviously all relative in terms of numbers with startups, but like we're so excited by this traction because this isn't empty traffic. This is like women that are sharing things that they have never shared elsewhere. And it's the stories and the milestones that are shared are phenomenal. I read everything that comes through and I'm just blown away on a daily basis. So yeah.
You're
it's
going to
really
make
cool
me
to see.
share my screen again. So I'm just before we wrap, going to share the experience I had with my community building this.
Yeah.
What I really enjoyed about building my own trail was that it got me talking about things I wouldn't necessarily ever put on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'd even thought about putting certain things on LinkedIn and chose not to, or had that fearful moment where I then later went in and deleted it because it was too revealing and I felt too vulnerable. But, I put on here the fact that I left a job because one of my closest friends was murdered. Like, awful story, right? It's an experience that really set me back in several ways. I couldn't be on the road every other week. I needed to take a break from that. I needed to be home in my community with my people. And LinkedIn doesn't provide that. It's not an easy thing to talk about, to get through. And, I realize there is a trend to sharing more on LinkedIn of what your genuine self is than there was even a few years back. But I also don't feel it's necessarily the easiest platform to do that, especially when you're talking about sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
And that's sensitive stuff. So,
Yeah.
I appreciated that about the experience of building my own trail. I also appreciated the fact that it wasn't like dates were everywhere. So like if I had a job that really was a mulligan, like, oh my God, this was not a fit. What was I doing here? I didn't feel limited by the fact that I moved on to another gig relatively rapidly because it was just a bad fit.
Yeah.
So I think that can be very helpful in trying to reveal for people like what their path is, and even finding what their purpose is through connecting with other people that might be going through something similar. So I love that about it.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for naming that. I think that, yeah, LinkedIn can be a rough place to be authentic. Like you see that backfiring sometimes with people. But also I think it's like authenticity breeds more authenticity. And when you see other people sharing really authentically and sharing really vulnerable milestones, that makes it feel safer to do so as well. It's also worth noting that women can choose to use their real name or use an anonymous screen name. So if you're sharing something, if you don't feel comfortable having your journey out there tied to your name, you can use a screen name. And you can set specific milestones to be private. So we saw that when you're creating your aspirational milestone. If you set it to be private, then it only shows to people that you're explicitly connected to on OwnTrail. So say there's one milestone that you want to share, but you don't necessarily want everyone in the community to see it, only the people that you've chosen to be connected to. You can do that as well. So we're all about safety and agency when it comes to what women are sharing on the platform. And you have control over how and what you share.
Wow. I like that feature. I don't think that was always present. So
the privacy on the milestone level, we launched probably about 6 months ago. So it might have been close to the time we talked last. But that was actually an example, one of several examples of features that we've built based on feedback from our community. Because we are all about building OwnTrail with our community, not just for our community. And I think that there's this kind of archaic view of companies being like, we're the company, we know what you want, this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to use it. And we are not that arrogant. We have a big vision, but we also want to know like what's working for people and what the women in our community really want out of the platform. And so we keep that two-way communication going in all the ways we can in order to make sure that we're really hearing and being responsive.
Wow. Well, great. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, Rebekah. I really appreciate your time.
Always great to talk with you, and let's chat more about your podcast community, and have a wonderful trip.
Oh, thank you.
We'll have to talk soon. Okay.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Thanks, Les.
Now, listeners, everybody who's seeing this here, you have the option of going to watch this later on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. It will be on all three of those platforms. I may even choose a snip or two to go ahead and host in my Friday feature on the podcast. I encourage you all to go to caremorebebetter.com. Grab that earlier episode with Rebekah. It was episode 5, and give it a listen. You can also explore there the many topics I cover on the show. Thank you, listeners, now and always, for being a part of this pod and this community, because together we really can do so much more. Thank you.